All right. So I snapped this story about the Domino's guy, and now I've decided I want to YouTube it and Facebook or whatever because I think it's way too weird and out there and bizarre to not. So basically, I got a phone call this morning around 1 a.m., and it was on my Google Voice number. And if any of you know, on Google Voice, you have to record your name when you call somebody. And it said, "This is Domino's." And I was like, okay, well, that's weird. And I had to get up for work at 4 this morning, so I didn't order no Domino's. And it sounded familiar. So I was like, okay, well, this is weird. I don't know. And I didn't answer it, and it went to voicemail, and it was 4 seconds of nothing. And I let it go all day. I let it go, and I got home and had forgotten about it. And it's around a little before 7 when it happened, and now it's a little after 7. And I called the Domino's after trying to text and call that number and say, "Who is this?" They didn't respond. I called the Domino's and I said, why did one of your drivers call me? And the guy was like, "I don't know." And I said, "Well, I was in this area a couple weeks ago because it was the same exact Domino's, like, I'm assuming, because the number, I looked at my Google Voice and the same number for the same delivery person had called me when they couldn't find my friend's house when I was house sitting." And so I'm kind of wondering, why do they even still have my number? It was very weird. And so I call and I'm just chatting with the guy and I'm just wondering, how did they get my number? And I thought, maybe my friend had ordered Domino's. And I had sent her a text earlier today and I said, "Did you guys order Domino's last night?" Because they called me. Because originally the guy had trouble finding the house when I first ordered a couple weeks ago. And they said, "No, we were asleep." And so I got to thinking, why the heck did they call me? Well, finally, I called the number again from my Google Voice, and the guy answered it. And apparently, it was the same guy I talked to from Domino's, and I didn't realize it. And he's like, "Now you're calling my cell phone. Are you trying to get me in trouble?" And he's like, "I don't know who called you, but it wasn't me. And maybe my wife got my number and is paranoid and is trying to see who I'm calling." But he says it was his wife's phone. And it does go to a girl's voicemail when you call and they don't answer. Because I did try calling right away after and they didn't answer. So I don't know exactly what's going on. I wasn't very coherent at 1 a.m., so I didn't pay attention and I didn't think about it till tonight. But, I just feel like the whole thing's really weird. And when I did call him, he kept yapping at me when I called him back on his cell phone and talking and talking and talking and swearing, like F-bomb this and F-bomb that and whatever, and talking crap about his wife. And I was like, are you okay? And I told him it was a guy's voice that recorded their name. And he's like, "Well, it wasn't me." And I'm like, "But why did they say this is Domino's?" And he goes, "They said this is Domino's? Well, it wasn't me. I wasn't working last night." And I'm like, the voice sounds exactly the same. Huh. And I was also confused. I didn't realize at first that it was him. I was wondering how he found out from the store that I had called because I didn't realize, I thought, how would he have known about this? Because I thought I talked to someone else. But then I realized, oh, it's him. That's how. And he's like, "You just called the store and now you're calling my cell? What are you trying to do? Get me in trouble?" Because I even told him that I didn't tell the store his phone number or anything. I was just trying to get to the bottom of this. But it was a very bizarre situation. It could have been all coincidental. But I'm wondering why he would have kept my number. He was like probably in late 50s, early 60s, not good hygiene. Saw him for barely a second. He handed me the pizza because it was paid for, by a credit card, and he turned and left, like very abruptly, actually, from what I remember. And I didn't care to remember all these details until this conversation, but he was on the phone with me for like a good 5 minutes. That's why I'm making a big deal about this. Like, he was yapping at me when I called his cell phone, and and I'm just sitting here like, why do you have your wife's cell phone? And then you're blaming your wife for this? When it was a dude's voice that sounds pretty close to yours in the recording. I was just very confused. I'm not even in the same area. My friend lives in Shoreview and I live in Cambridge. If any of you don't know, it's like 45 minutes difference. I didn't order a pizza last night at 1 in the morning. So it's just a very strange story. I also posted it on Snapchat. It probably makes a lot more sense on Snapchat because I posted it as it happened. But so basically, what happened? I got a call, and they say they didn't call, but they called. My history says they called. It's just very creepy and weird. Strange to know. Thoughts? Opinions? Let me know.